Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal, back for another live stream. A new week is here. We are getting closer to July. Hopefully deals start happening soon. So in today's stream, you're going to be talking about the latest on Rodrygo. Obviously, Real Madrid played yesterday in the Club World Cup. Rodrygo did not start and he did not even come on off the bench in that game. You're going to be talking about the latest on Sesko. Are we going to get Sesko? Is it going to be Gyokeres? I still feel we're going to be talking about these players for the next 2 weeks. Thomas Partey. 1 week to go, 1 week to make a decision. Will Partey be an Arsenal player this time next week, or will he be moving on to a different club? Zinchenko as well. I have a poll in the chat, and if you're watching this on a different platform, or if you're watching this on repeat, let me know. Zinchenko is probably going to be sold. How much do you think we should be getting for Zinchenko? Yesterday, we talked about Martinelli on the video, and I asked you guys, how much would you be looking for Martinelli? How much? And you guys were like 50 million, 40 million, 60 million. I think everyone said above 40 million, and some are saying he's not for sale at all. So fair enough. What about Zinchenko? Should you be trying to get 10 million for him, 15 million for him, 20 million for him? How much should you be getting for him? Because it looks like he's going to leave. I think his contract is expiring next year, so only 1 year remaining on his deal. And we've been linked to a PSG player today as well. So let's talk about all that. Let's start with Rodrygo. Let's start for this update from Graham Bailey on Rodrygo. Andrea Bat has been doing a lot of work in the background on a deal for Rodrygo in recent weeks, attempting to understand the makeup of a potential transfer, and preliminary talks have taken place with the players' representatives. It's understood that Real Madrid's hierarchy have made it clear that should they be willing to sell, they will be realistic with their valuation and would accept around £70 million, even if they think he could be worth closer to £100 million. Arsenal are open to Rodrygo taking a spot among the highest earners, even if new deals for William Saliba and Bukayo Saka break the 300,000 a week threshold. So, sorry, I just came from eating. Apologies. Rodrygo. So this from Graham Bailey, this particular update is good news after good news. So let's start with the first paragraph. Andrea Bat has been doing a lot of work in the background on a deal for Rodrygo in recent weeks. So that for a step, that is great. At least we know that we want the player, and we are actively trying to get him, because for a player like Rafa Leao, we know that you're not in discussions to get him. A player like Alexander Isak, I doubt you're in discussions to try and get him. But it's great to know that for Rodrygo, we are currently in discussions to try and get him. We've had talks with them. Bat has had meetings with them. I don't think for Rodrygo, the ball is in our court. The ball is in their court. Does Rodrygo want to leave Real Madrid? And does Xabi Alonso and Real Madrid want Rodrygo to move on? Maybe after this Club World Cup, we'll have a better answer. Attempting to understand the makeup of a potential transfer, and preliminary talks have taken place with the players' representatives. It's understood that Real Madrid's hierarchy have made it clear that should they be willing to sell, they will be realistic with their valuation, would accept around 70 million. Now, that's the other thing that I think would hold us back, the money. So if Rodrygo is available for 70 million, I think you have to go and get it done. I thought he was going to be like around 90, 95 million, as I've said here. They know his valuation is close to 100 million. I don't think his value is close to 100 million. I'd say Rodrygo's around an 80 million pound player as of now for me. So if you're able to get him for 70 million, just like Gyokeres for 60 million, I think it's a no-brainer. You don't get players of that quality that easily, and I'm sure the moment he becomes available, you'll hear Bayern Munich are interested. You'll hear maybe a Man City last minute trying to get him. But we usually know that when you do initial talks with players, we usually end up getting them. So I'd still be confident of getting him. For 70 million, I think that's a no-brainer. Now, there's other things we've been doing in the background, maybe working towards the Rodrygo deal that we don't know about. Maybe the reason they're trying to sell Martinelli is to raise funds to buy Rodrygo. Maybe that's the case for that. Maybe the reason why they're trying to, bargain on the Sesko deal and bargain on the Gyokeres deal is because you want to save a little bit of money to try and get Rodrygo from Real Madrid. So all of those things that we've been doing in the background, maybe it's pointing out towards us getting Rodrygo, because I don't think we'd be linked to any other, like, that level of winger who's going to cost that price. We know we wanted Nico Williams, but Nico Williams is going to Barcelona. That is not happening. We were mentioned as potential target. Lookman was mentioned as a potential target for us, but I don't think we are that serious in terms of getting Lookman. Rafa Leao, I don't think Arsenal have really ever said they want Leao that much. I don't think so. We'll be linked to Gordon, but I don't think Gordon is worth that kind of money, and I think most of you would agree. I think if you are to ask me Gordon 70 million, Rodrygo 70 million, I know who I'm going to choose between those two. I don't think there's any other winger that you've really pushed that much. Even someone like a Semenyo was mentioned, but you're not that serious to get him. So for Rodrygo, 70 million, I think that would be an absolute steal. Now, the fee is not the only thing that might have been the problem. What about the wages? Now, the last paragraph there, Arsenal are open to Rodrygo taking a spot among their highest earners, even if new deals for William Saliba and Bukayo Saka break the 300k a week threshold. Now, those are things I love to hear. Those are things I absolutely love to hear. I absolutely love the work that Edu and Atta did in terms of reducing the wage bill and having a better wage structure. That is great. They did a great job, I think, apart from putting Havertz in 280,000 a week. I think that was a mistake. But the rest of the team, I think everyone is on reasonable wages. Now, I think Gabriel and Saliba and Saka should be our highest earners. So Gabriel getting a new contract and Saka and William Saliba hopefully following, they do deserve that. Saka and Saliba, those guys have been very, very consistent. They should be the ones top in terms of our wage bill. So if William Saliba and Saka getting 20,000 per week, I don't know how much Gabriel has been given. I don't think I've seen that valuation anywhere. And then we're able to also give Rodrygo around that 280,000 pounds per week. I think that would be great. That's what you'll need to do. To get players like this, as I've always said, you're not going to get Rodrygo and pay him 30,000 per week. That is not going to happen. You're not going to get Rodrygo and give him, even 80,000 per week. No, he's leaving Real Madrid, a place where they give him a lot of money. So if he's going to join you, you're going to have to give him a lot of money. Right now, if Arsenal wants Rodrygo and Man City wants Rodrygo and Bayern wants Rodrygo, and let's say PSG wants Rodrygo, and let's say a team from Saudi Arabia wants Rodrygo, you're going to have to give him money. Saudi Arabia can easily say 400,000 a week. Man City can easily say 300 and something thousand a week. Haaland gets paid 500,000 per week. De Bruyne is getting paid 400,000 plus per week. Same with Salah at Liverpool. Same with Van Dijk at Liverpool. Now you're going to have to pay a lot of these players a lot of money. And the fact that we've been able to manage our wage bill well, we don't have anyone who gets paid more than 20,000 per week. I think you can afford to put 2-3 players on that if you want to win the big trophies. Yeah, sometimes you can put players on low wages and they're going to win you trophies. Young players sometimes, if you watch basketball, like Oklahoma City yesterday, you can have young players and cheaper players and you can win trophies. But if you want to regularly compete and regularly win things, you're going to have to pay players a lot of money. That just has to be the case. So great to know that Arsenal are open to Rodrygo taking a spot among the highest earners. That is great. And if Madrid are willing to accept 75 million and Arsenal are willing to put Rodrygo 20,000 per week or 280,000 per week, then I think we are going to see this. I think we're going to see Rodrygo in an Arsenal shirt, and look at how good he looks in an Arsenal shirt, man. Like, bring him right away. Although this is a shot from last season, though. But I'm sure you'd look okay with the ones for next season as well. And we have a lot of free numbers at Arsenal, Maybe not the 14, but the 10 is available. And a couple of others are available as well at Arsenal. So you can have a number there for sure. So that's the list on Rodrygo from Graham Bailey. We also have an update on Rodrygo from a different journalist. That is John Cross of the Mirror. Rodrygo remains a top priority for Arsenal and now remains to be seen whether they can progress on it and get encouragement or have to look elsewhere. Real Madrid would demand in excess of 70 million. There is belief that they may be willing to do business. So I think it's going to cost around between 70 and 80. Now, I'm not sure how the structure of the deal is going to be. Is it going to be, the whole 75 million upfront, or is it going to be, 50 million upfront and then the rest 35 million you pay in 2 installments or something? I don't know if Real Madrid do the business like that, but if that could be the case, that would be great. If you can be able to get Rodrygo, that would be great. But the ball is not in our court as of now. It's great to know that you are willing to pay that money for him, but Rodrygo has to want to leave Real Madrid first, and Real Madrid have to want to sell Rodrygo. So hopefully next game, Real Madrid again, hopefully he doesn't play again, he's on the bench, or he plays on the right side once again, and he keeps getting frustrated and hopefully does make himself available for a transfer. That would be great. There's a lot of players there, man. I don't think he's going to be starting regularly, and Adagula played really well yesterday, and players like Brahim Diaz are there, and Mbappe has been injured, he's sick, and Rodrygo has still not been starting games. So where does he fit in that team? Just come to Arsenal, please. We have a spot for you. You want to play at left wing? Arsenal is looking for a left winger. You don't want to play at right wing. We are not looking for a right winger to replace Saka. This is a win-win for everyone. You come and you start games for Arsenal on the left wing. Easy as that. That's let's on Rodrygo. What about Benjamin Sesko? Here we go again, talking about Benjamin Sesko once again. I think we're going to be talking about them still for another 1 week or 2 weeks, unfortunately. According to Mirror Football via Sky Sports, Arsenal are growing frustrated with Benjamin Sesko, and negotiations are now not going smoothly due to his wage demands. Now, I don't know how accurate these reports are, but I would say around 3 weeks ago, I was like, it's going to be Sesko 70%, it's going to be Gyokeres 30%. But as of now, it's looking like Gyokeres is still a possibility. It's still a very, very big possibility, especially if Sesko doesn't really want to join us that much. I feel as of now, I have this feeling because of all the news that we've been hearing, it's looking like Gyokeres wants to join Arsenal more than Sesko. Now, I don't know if it's Sesko giving this information or his agent trying to push for a deal, because we've had things like Sesko wanting a release clause in his contract. Having a release clause means that he's looking at Arsenal like, okay, I'm going to come to Arsenal, but I'm going to play for like 1 or 2 years, and then if Real Madrid or Barcelona come for me, I'm going to leave. That is not what you're looking for. The main reason why the team actually wants to sign you is because you're young and you're going to be here for a long period. So if you come to us and you play for 1 or 2 years, that does not make sense. So that is not going to be, or that's going to work. Arsenal not going to accept a 1 year, like a release clause, and then Sesko ends up staying for 1 year or 2 years only. That does not make sense. But the fact that we've been hearing that he wants that in his contract, I don't know if it's him or his agent, one of them. If it's Sesko who wants a release clause in his contract, then that is a problem. That means he's not very, very sure about spending too much time at Arsenal. He'd want to move on after that. And the wage demands, we're also hearing from him and his agent, and we're also hearing that Leipzig keep on increasing the money and all that. So the Benjamin Sesko deal is looking very complicated as well. I still feel like Arsenal really wants Sesko. I think if you had to put both Sesko and Gyokeres 50 million, I think Arsenal would go for Sesko. Even if you put them 60 million, Arsenal would go for Sesko. I think that would be the case. But if there's any changes in terms of the pricing and the wage demands, and if he doesn't want that release clause in his contract, then maybe Arsenal are going to go for him. But we were told around 2 weeks ago that Arsenal are going to go for the one that offers a better structure in terms of the finances. So wages, agent fees, how much you're going to pay for them, how long the contract will be. We are going to decide between Gyokeres and Sesko. So I said I'm expecting 70% Sesko, 30% Gyokeres, but it might be closer than that. It might be 60% Sesko, 40% Gyokeres as of now. But let's see. I still know most people want Gyokeres, so still a possibility. Hopefully, he doesn't end up we don't end up losing out on both of them. As of now, none of them has gone to any other team. We are going into July. That is interesting. I thought the moment the season would end like this, Gyokeres would leave immediately, but we are going to July, and I don't think I've had anyone apart from Arsenal and Man United wanting Gyokeres, and Sesko as well. Maybe a couple of teams haven't really had and unless people are waiting for Arsenal to try and push the prices down for them to jump in, because I am sure if you say Gyokeres is available for 50 million right now, you're going to hear Bayern Munich one team, you're going to hear Arsenal one team, Chelsea one team, Liverpool one team. I don't think it's just going to be there in the market and no one wants him at all. No, I don't care which league he plays in. Teams will want him. You cannot score 100 goals in 2 years and then you get ignored. I don't think that is going to be the case. But according to reports, Arsenal are growing frustrated with Benjamin Sesko, and negotiations are now not going smoothly due to his wage demands. So that is interesting. The Sesko one is looking very complicated. Let's see how it goes. So again, I'm sure you're going to be talking about Sesko and Gyokeres tomorrow. If you have more updates, we probably will have. So let's go to the next piece of news, and that is Thomas Partey. Today is 23rd of June, 1 week away from the end of the month. By this time next week, we are going to know whether Partey is going to be an Arsenal player or not. So no, not long to decide. Not long to decide whether it's the team that is going to offer him a new more wages, or is it going to be Partey settling for what has been offered, or is it going to be Partey deciding to go to Saudi Arabia? Is it going to be Partey deciding to move to Barcelona or someone if one of those teams are serious on getting him? Let's see. Now, What is the latest on Thomas Partey? We are hearing that Thomas Partey will hold face-to-face talks to Mikel Arteta this week. Arsenal will not increase their contract offer to Partey. However, the offer is still on the table and he has not rejected it. As it stands, it is 90% that Partey leaves Arsenal. That is quite high. 90% is quite high. So Arsenal not going to increase the offer. So you can put that on the side. Arsenal not going to give him more than 200,000 or something like that. That is not going to happen. What about Partey accepting what is on the table already? So they've said he's not rejected it yet, but he has been looking at different options for sure. If he's not signing it yet and he's not rejected it yet, he's just saying, okay, just leave it there. Let me see what else I can do. Let me see which other teams want me, and then after that, if nothing concrete comes in for me, then I'll come and sign the new deal. Now, we also don't know whether the new deal is going to be 1 year or 2 years. Personally, I would have given him 1 year. Some people would have given him 2 years. I don't know what Arsenal are going to give him. I feel like Arsenal are going to give him like a year, like we do the Jorginho 1 more year. So again, for Thomas Partey, let's see what happens this week. It's a crucial week. Now we're heading into July. Players are going to go to Spain at the beginning of next month to start pre-season training. A few of the players who are coming back early. So there's not too much time to decide. Gabriel has already signed his new contract. We already know that us are trying to push for the contracts of Saka and Saliba as well. And I don't even know what the situation is with Trossard. That has gone quiet as well. Lewis Kelly signed a new contract as well. We are waiting for Nwaneri too. So I think if Partey doesn't sign anytime soon, Arsenal will try to move to the other players very, very quickly, the Sakas and Salibas, because yeah, we love Partey, but the first player that needs to get a new contract is, of course, it's right now it's Partey because it's ending, but the player that has to stay at Arsenal without even negotiate, it has to be Saka. Saka has to get a new contract very, very soon before it gets anywhere close to even expiring together with Saliba. And then let's see what happens with Partey and Trossard as well. So Thomas Partey meeting this week. Let's see how it goes. What about Zinchenko? Now, that is the poll that is in the chat if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on replay, just comment down below. If you're watching on Facebook, just comment down below. How much do you think we should be getting for Zinchenko? Yesterday, we talked about Martinelli. Most of you said 60 million, 50 million, around there. But how much should you be getting for Zinchenko? He only has 1 year remaining on his contract. This is the latest reports. AC Milan sporting director Iglitare has held talks with representatives of Alexander Zinchenko. Milan appreciate the player and could close a deal for a figure under 20 million euros. 20 million euros. 20 million euros. Isn't that like 13 million? Let me calculate that in pounds. 20 million euros. That sounds very, very cheap. Very, very cheap. Let's see how much that is. 17 million. That is 17 million pounds. That AC Milan are offering Arsenal. 17 million for Zinchenko. Do you think we should be accepting that, or do you think we should be rejecting that? Should we be trying to get more than 20 million? Or are you even happy for us to get less than 17 million? You just want him to leave. You just need that money. How much should you be getting for Zinchenko? 17 million. I'd be going above 20, man. We need to stop selling our players for this cheap. I'm telling you right now, the same Zinchenko who has not been that great defensively, the same Zinchenko who hasn't really been playing that much recently, the same Zinchenko has been having injuries here and there. This same Zinchenko, if he was playing for Liverpool right now, this same Zinchenko, if he was playing for Man City again right now, they would be selling him for 35, 40 million. Why are we getting 17 million? So he has 1 year remaining on his contract. I know that. I know age-wise, Zinchenko is not that old though. Zinchenko, let's see. Yeah, he's still. Zinchenko is 28. Zinchenko is right now. He should be in his prime. Like he's still 2 years to go before he gets to 30. So this should be above 20 million. This should not be anything to do with 17 million, man. I know it's not the best defensively, but when it comes to getting into midfield and controlling the ball and passing through the lines and all that, he's still very good at that. He's still an international player who plays for his country. So we need to stop undervaluing players like that, players like Kiwi and Zinchenko who play for their countries every single game. You need to be selling them for substantial money. There's reasons why they play for their teams. And you also have to look at the fact that he's played for both Man City and Arsenal in the league. he has the experience of the league. Yes, he's not really won something with us, but he's a winner from before with the teams that he used to play for. So this should be 20 million plus. We need to stop undervaluing our players. Gyokeres says 25 plus 5 million. Coco says you have to reject it. Zinchenko should not be less than 25 million. I think I agree. I think I agree with that. Also, is very poor at selling. Let's hope Barca changes that. I can see a couple of 15 million, 20 million. So hopefully we do get more than 20 million. Let's not end up getting 12 million. I'm sure we signed him for like that 5 million. Let's not end up getting like have a 20 million loss or something after 2 years. Let's not do that. So I don't think we should be doing that. Lastly, let's talk about a player that will be linked to from PSG. We played PSG recently, and we saw how tough it was, that game. So this is the latest on Bradley Barcola. I don't think you're going to get him, but we've been linked to him today. According to L'Equipe, and L'Equipe are usually accurate in terms of French news. Arsenal, Chelsea, and Bayern Munich have all made approaches for Bradley Barcola lately. However, PSG have closed the door on his departure. Barcola is not unhappy with the situation at PSG and wishes to remain at the club. So, listen, we've been linked to him, but the moment you read all of that, it is not happening. The moment you say that PSG have closed the door on his departure, the team does not want to sell him. And on top of that, Barcola is happy with the situation at PSG. There is no reason for him to leave. The only reason he would leave there is if you go and give PSG 100 million and you give Barcola 400,000 a week. That's the only way he's going to leave. So I think for players like Barcola and players like Anthony Gordon, you're wasting your time. We should be trying to push for Rodrygo, trying to push for players like Lookman who are leaving their clubs. When you start going for players like Barcola and Anthony Gordon, you're going to be wasting your time. Barcola is not going to leave PSG, but you'll be linked to him. Chelsea will be linked to him. Bayern Munich have been linked to him. Bayern Munich are also looking for wingers like us. They were linked to Nico Williams just like us. I think they were mentioned in the Rodrygo saga as well. So Bayern Munich want wingers just like us. So let's hope Bayern Munich don't end up getting one of the wingers that we get, or they end up getting a Rodrygo and you lose out on him or something like that. Hopefully that is not the case. So Barcola, that is just the news that has come out today, but I don't think it's really going to happen, unfortunately. We shouldn't waste time on him anyway. It will be like the Nico Williams one. We should not be wasting time on this kind of deals. We are not going to get him. So that's the latest on Rodrygo, Sesko, Partey, Zinchenko, and Barcola. I'll come to the poll to see what you guys have voted for in terms of how much money you should be getting for Zinchenko. Let me see. Let me see the comments. How are you doing, Arkin? I thank you for being here as always. Let's see. Good evening. I'm here, bro. Good evening, Mohammed. Also need more squad depth. No need to sell our important players. I agree, man. Last season, it will always stick in our heads, man. It only takes one injury. I always say, let's buy a player to back up this one. I'm one of the people who, if I was a manager, if we are 3-0 up even by the 50th minute, I'd be subbing off players just because I'm scared of the injuries that could happen. But people usually say you cannot approach life like that, thinking about all the negative things that can happen. But after last season, we saw that all the negative things can happen all at once. Odegaard can get injured, Saka can get injured, Gabriel can get injured. That can be followed with Martinelli getting injured, with Havertz getting injured, with Timber going off every single game, with Ben White getting injured and having to do an operation. We even Saliba getting a red card and injured, Trossard getting a red card. Come on, man. Last season, everything that was negative happened last season. So things that like that can happen. Now, it might not happen 2 seasons in a row, hopefully not, but you have to be better prepared for next season. We cannot have... yes, if you sell Martinelli today and then Rodrygo comes in and then Rodrygo misses 2 months and then what's next? You're going to play Trossard every single game again? Champions League, Carabao Cup? No, we can't be doing that. You need to have 2 players in each position plus an extra. That's like 22 players. And then you need like an extra 3 players who are going to fill in different positions. So, someone like Nwaneri who can come on a right wing or number 10. And then you need extra players as well, like Trossard or Martinelli, who can come on in either of the wings, can play any of the competition. Trossard played more than 50 games last season. No problem with him playing that again next season, but different approaches to the game. Sometimes he can start, sometimes he can come on for 10 minutes, sometimes he can play as a striker for 1 game, sometimes he can play on the right wing for 2 games or something. Just a mixture where he can play 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Sometimes he starts, sometimes he go off at halftime. Kevin from Kenya, thank you for watching. Good evening, all Arsenal fans, I guess you're saying. Says James, Good evening, watching you live from Lusaka, Zambia. Thank you. Kunda, good evening. You're from Kenya. Thank you. Gordon is low class. Rodrygo is the best if you can acquire him. Yeah, those are the kind of signings you need to make. When you see Man City, buying players like Reinders, you saw Shaq yesterday for Man City scoring such a good goal, man. And yeah, he's going to bring that to the Premier League for them. And then Liverpool have gotten Vats. I also want us to get the best of the best. With Declan Rice, we got the best of the best at that point. A player who was wanted by a lot of teams. We managed to get him. Now, can we do that with the other positions as well? That would be great. Ball is watching from South Sudan. Thank you. Bigger to you, Kalapo. Zainam says Arsenal and Ateta are not serious. Egi says Arsenal will lose out on both of them. Hopefully not. I don't trust Arsenal when it comes to transfers. Good evening, my care. How true is this Rodrygo transfer to Arsenal? Do you think Arsenal can spend that to get Rodrygo? We have to. If you want players like that, if you want to compete for big trophies, you have to. So as I've said, maybe they're trying to sell Martinelli because they're trying to get Rodrygo. Maybe they're trying to reduce the money on Gyokeres and Sesko so that they can afford Rodrygo. Whichever it is, if you can get that striker and get a player like Rodrygo, that is what you're looking for. Do you think Arsenal can spend that to get Rodrygo? Arsenal won't be able to pay such big to sign him. Rodrygo, and they're finding it very difficult to sign Sesko Gyokeres. I'm tired of this Sesko Gyokeres matter. It's still going to go on for another 2 weeks, I feel like. So I don't think we're anywhere near even deciding which one we're going to get in terms of that, unless one of them says, okay, I'm not leaving, I'm signing a new contract. Then it makes it easy to just go for the other one. But as of now, I think it's still going to carry on. For Rodrygo, let's say 60% thinking it might happen, but 40% it might not happen. So let's see how it goes. But we've been told that Arsenal are willing to put him on high wages, and Madrid might be willing to sell him for 70 million, let's say. Misheka says Partey is staying. Not sure, man. Remy says if Rodrygo worth 80 million, Martinelli is worth 50. How far is Rodrygo for Martinelli? Yet in Brazil, sometimes Martinelli is a starter. That is true. I think I think we have to look at what they've done over the last 5 years, both of them. You have to look at I think they also look at trophies. I mean, how many times we've been winning stuff. And from the last 2 seasons, Martinelli has not been great. From the last 2 seasons, I think Rodrygo has still been putting up the numbers. So Martinelli has not been great for 2 seasons now, not just 1 season. The previous season, he was not great as well. So that's 2 poor seasons. The reason why I'm going to see how Odegaard does next season, because Odegaard has had 1 poor season. But Martinelli has had 2 poor seasons. So that is a problem. And there's a lot of fans who don't like Martinelli's style of play. They're looking down in all that, and they feel like Rodrygo is a better fit. So we should buy Rodrygo and not sell Martinelli. Also, will regret if they sell Martinelli, says Ayo. If Thomas Partey leaves Arsenal, we stop supporting Arsenal for now, says James. No, I wouldn't say I wouldn't put too many eggs in that basket, because there's a big chance he's going to leave. Letting Partey leave won't help Arsenal compete for titles, says Coco. The only way Arsenal can win EPL next season is either Rafael Leao or Rodrygo. And Viktor Gyokeres. I wish the board can do something about this, says Bona. We need a striker before July to avoid competition from other clubs, says Blessing. I think it's going to be July. I think for a striker, it's going to be July. I think right now we are going to get Zubimendi. Maybe, I think by July 2nd, I'd say Zubimendi and Kepa will be the first 2 signings. And then after that, then we are going to, I think, go for a striker. I love what you're doing, says Olua. Thank you. Good evening from Somalia. Thank you for watching, Mohammed. Good evening, watching you from Nigeria, says Balagan. Thank you. Stansler says, bro, I don't understand what is going on. No need to sell a player now. Yeah, I'm also not a fan of selling players this season because of what happened last season. I definitely want to keep Kivio. I was even so close to saying we should keep Zinchenko, but I was like, okay, no, he's had 2 poor seasons and he's been injured. I think it's time to move him on. But players like Kivio and Martinelli, no, I definitely want them to stay as squad players. I think we need to buy a player who wants to prove a point, like Rodrygo and Garnacho on the left flank. Garnacho. I don't think Garnacho is a bad player, but no, not now. Something else that we need, Lonik here, is not just a player who wants to prove themselves, a player who's also ready, a player who's already proven. And we've bought a lot of players who want to prove themselves. Havertz wanted to make a point to Chelsea, Sterling wanted to make a point to Chelsea. and there's a few more that we bought a lot of players who wanted to make a point now. Let's buy players who've already made a point and they now want to join us. Players like Gyokeres who have already scored goals. Let's go for players like that. If you look at the list of goals and assists from last season, we are nowhere near that. Salah, Dembele, Rafinha, those guys are getting 30 goals and 20 assists in a season. We are nowhere near that. The only player who can get close to that is Saka. And even Saka getting to 30 goals, he has to be fit for the whole season and play a lot of minutes. Getting those kind of numbers is difficult. So when we play against PSG, a team who has all of those players scoring that number of goals, we're obviously going to struggle. We need to spend on good players. Good evening, watching you from Zambia. Thank you. Kingsley says, good evening, sir. Love your program, says Collins. Thank you for your comments, Zebron, as well. Love your program and watching you from Ghana. Thank you, Collins. Balagan says, which players are you expecting? Zubimendi, Kepa. Those are two. And then for Gyokeres and Sesko, we don't know, man. I can't lie to you. I don't know which one you're going to get. Hopefully one of them. And then after that, really, I don't think anyone has a clue, man. Are we going to get a backup for Saka? Are we going to get a backup for Odegaard? Are we going to get a starting number 8? If Partey leaves, are we going to get a replacement for him? Which defender are we going to go for? All that we have to wait and see. Mohamed says, I regret supporting Arsenal. Well, Thierry Henry made me support Arsenal, and yeah, we can blame those guys, the Beckhams and the Thierry Henrys. I don't regret supporting Arsenal, but yeah, I've never seen Arsenal win the Premier League. I started supporting Arsenal in 2004. I didn't really know what was going on with the Invincibles. I didn't know anything about that. I just saw Henry playing, and I was like, this guy is so good. We're definitely going to be winning a lot of trophies. Nah. That has not turned out to be the case. The board have to do something about these issues of striker because they lack a natural striker. That is from Tahir. I skipped a lot of comments here. Hassan says, good afternoon. I'm from Sierra Leone. Thank you for watching. I skipped. There's a couple of comments that have disappeared. Watching you from Nigeria, says Williams. Don't forget Rodrygo last season at Real was not at his best. Yeah, but if you look at Rodrygo, the minutes that Rodrygo played, I think Rodrygo started like less than 10 games in La Liga. Most of the games he was playing, he was coming on for 30 minutes, 20 minutes. So actually, I can get you the exact numbers. I wrote it down somewhere here when it first talked about Rodrygo. Yeah, I've got it. So last season, 24-25 season. So last season, did I really break it down in terms of league? Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I broke it down. Always write things on because you might come to check. Come check them later if I can speak. So let me tell you why it's not fair to look at it like that, Coco. So last season, he only played 90 minutes 6 times. So he always gets subbed off early, or he comes on. So he rarely gets like 90 minutes. At also, he potentially will get that a lot of time. So I think a player who's only played 90 minutes 6 times, always getting subbed off the 50th minute, 60th minute, I feel like he doesn't really get enough opportunity to do something before he gets subbed off. So in those 51 games that he played, coming on and starting and getting subbed off, he had 24 goal returns. I think that is good enough. The previous season, 26 goal returns. I think that is also good. So yeah, it's for someone like a Rodrygo, it's tough because he rarely plays 90 minutes, 6 times only. He played 90 minutes. That is quite low. Pressed the wrong button. I wish I can talk to Arsenal owners and ask him what he thinks when it comes to transfers. Maybe Josh. I don't think Stan really knows anything about that. Between Sesko and Gyokeres, which one of them Arsenal really serious? I think you're just waiting for the one who's going to be cheaper, to be honest. I want us to sell Martinelli and replace him with Lookman, says Douglas. We've been linked to Lookman before, but I don't know how serious we are with him. I think we're serious with Rodrygo. I don't think we are that serious with players like Lookman. And apart from that, I don't know any other players because we've heard about Gordon. We have heard about Rogers sometime last week. We've heard about Rodrygo. We've also heard about Gittens. I don't know if he's going to Chelsea or he's going to be available for a different team. We know Nico Williams is done now. We're not going to get Nico Williams. I don't think Arsenal are really linked to Rafa Leao that much. So let's see how it goes, though. Lokonga future, do you think he's in top plans for 2025, 2026? Definitely not. Lokonga is going to be sold. If not sold, he's going to move on loan. I don't think he should be in Arsenal's future at all anyway. Lokonga and Tavares, the time we bought them, as I always say, different times, man. At that point, you are trying to finish in the top 4. Right now, we are trying to win trophies and win the Champions League and things like that. Lokonga is not going to do that for you, man. We've gone to a different level. We are now talking about players like Declan Rice and getting players like Rodrygo and Gyokeres. So we cannot go back to the Lokongas and the Reece Nelsons. We cannot go back to that. We have to keep on moving forward. 79 million for who? For Zinchenko. Oh, I wish you can get 79 million for Zinchenko. If you get 79 million for Zinchenko, I'll take him there myself. I'll fly there and take him there by myself. 79 million. That is enough money to buy Rodrygo. You sell Zinchenko for that money, then you buy Rodrygo. That will be fantastic business. Let me see what you guys have voted for. So I asked how much you guys would sell Zinchenko for. 51% have said 25 million plus. 21% have said 20 million is enough. 17% have said 15 million is enough. 11% have said 10 million is enough. Who will replace Jorginho? I thought it was going to be Zubimendi Kalapo, but it's now looking like Zubimendi is a replacement for Partey, but we'll be linked to Zaire Emery from PSG and the midfielder from Sevilla. That's all I know. If Hato comes, do you think that means MLS replaces Partey in midfield, says John? That is also another thing. So that's why I said I'm really looking forward to preseason, because I want to see where Rice will play. Is he going to play as a 6 or an 8? Is he going to play next to Zubimendi? Is he going to be 2 players in the middle, or Rice will keep on going forward? Or will it be, Rice in the 6 and then Lewis Kelly starts playing as the number 8, because Lewis Kelly is a midfielder who plays as a defender. Is Merino going to start playing as a number 6 like he used to play before in his previous teams? Or are we going to sign someone to replace Partey to play in that position? Or is Partey going to sign a new contract and then I don't know what happens after that? I just want more options. If you have Partey, Zubimendi, Lewis Kelly, Rice, Merino, that is better if you have all those options. Bata may be doing a lot of work, but is getting nothing done. I can't say anything about Bata right now until the transfer window closes. All whilst we continue to fall behind our rivals. In terms of catching the rivals, in terms of signings, right now we have a lot to do. Man City have made so many signings, and Liverpool have made so many top signings as well. Why can't they just sell the club to better investors? That is also definitely not going to happen. Zinchenko is 35 million plus add-ons of 5 million. The problem with that is that he only has 1 year remaining on his contract, and he hasn't been playing a lot recently. That's 5 million for Zinchenko, says God's will. So I appreciate you guys watching. Same time tomorrow, we'll be doing another show as always. If there's any more news, we'll have a video later on. As of now, thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.